This is the Japan vlog. We spent 2 weeks in Japan. We started off flying into Osaka from Shanghai. And our first night out in Osaka, we just went out into sort of the city and had some food. This was called okonomiyaki, which is like eggs on noodles with loads of sauce on. Our first day in Osaka, we took a train out to Nara. We went to the Nara Deer Park. You could feed the deer little oat cakes that you could buy. So the deer were all very sort of interested in us and just getting our oat cakes. Some could actually get a bit aggressive, but this one was very chilled and respectful, and some of them would bow to you in order to try and get the rice cakes. Then we headed more into the woods where there was different shrines. One of the sort of religions and beliefs in Japan is called Shintoism, which has lots of gods. It's quite spiritual and you can pray to the gods. There were quite a few statues of foxes, and the foxes represent good luck for harvest around this area. We then got rid of the rest of our rice cakes and went out for some lunch. On the evening, we headed back out to the same area of Osaka, where we managed to find a sushi bar. So we tried eel, tuna, shrimp and salmon, and also some salmon roe, which is like the eggs of the salmon. Didn't get a picture of that, but we were still hungry afterwards, so we went out for some more okonomiyaki.
Second day in Osaka, and we've gone for the cultural experience of going to Universal Studios.
So we took a train out to Universal Studios, which was close by in Osaka. It was just something a bit different to do for a day instead of lots of temples, which we knew we'd be doing in Kyoto as well. Started off with doing the Despicable Me Minion area before we went to Super Nintendo World. Whilst we waited for our rides, James enjoyed some eggs, and we went on some of the Mario rides. Had some lunch, and then headed into the Harry Potter world, where I was lucky enough to get chosen by a wand. Got to see Shrek 2 as well, but not as good as my costume. The next day, before we took a train to Kyoto, we had a really nice breakfast. Those were some great waffles. And we took a train to Kyoto, and when we got there, we just had dinner. We planned out our next few days, and the next day we went to Fushi Inari Shrine. There were lots of red gates, but there was also a lot of tourists around the area, so we didn't go all the way up to the top of the summit, but we managed to walk through a lot of the gates. We then took a train out to Kameoka. This was a nice small town that we weren't really planning on seeing much at, but there was a nice park that we wandered around that was very quiet and peaceful. We then took a train to the bamboo forest. This was another sort of touristy spot where there was lots of places for photo opportunities. We went out for some nice ramen noodles, and the food in Japan was all very good, so much better than when we were in China, so it was a nice change. The next day when we set out, we stumbled across a temple that was very close by. It was huge, and we saw a parade that happens yearly, which sort of goes through the different timeline of Japan, starting in sort of recent history and going further back in time as the parade goes along. After the parade, we took a train to the north, and there we had to go in the hot springs, were like a hot bath, but we didn't get any pictures there. It was an interesting experience getting butt naked. Later that evening, we went out to another festival that was on, a fire festival. It was really busy here, but there was lots of people moving around and doing chants that meant festival, festival. The next day we had a chill laundry day, did some cards, went out for some very nice breakfast, and on the afternoon we visited the Samurai Museum. We learnt a lot about the history of the samurai and how the shogun was really the one that was in charge of all of Japan, and the samurai were like the knights, and they were usually all together, but sometimes they did fight amongst each other. We got to have a go throwing ninja stars, and we got dressed up as samurai. On our next day, it was James's birthday. We started off the day with a traditional tea ceremony. We got to make our own matcha tea, learn about the traditions of the tea ceremony. The tea ceremonies were usually for samurai, and it would be a way to stop them fighting each other so that they could have a bit of relaxed time, socialise, and they'd have to leave their swords outside. We stopped off in a park where James opened some of his birthday cards, and we had a guided tour around the Gion district.
Try to avoid the middle point of the gate. The middle point right here is considered to be the pathway or crossway of the guards, so to show respect we avoid this point and we'll be entering from one of the sides.
So we each got to have a go at making a prayer to the gods. So you bow before entering, ring the bell in the shrine to sort of alert the god and wake the god up, bow twice, and then clap twice, and then make a prayer. Lots of people still make these prayers to the gods, especially in business. This was another prayer site where you write down things that you want and things that you want to leave behind. And this was how small the doors used to be, because people in Japan used to be very small. We then went out for some more nice beef curry for lunch. We went out to see a geisha performance. We couldn't record the actual live performance, but this was a video they showed afterwards. But this was really interesting to see and quite impressive. They have to dedicate their whole lives from about the age of 15 into being a geisha. Next, we took a bullet train from Kyoto all the way to Tokyo, and we stayed in not a very nice hostel, but Tokyo was a cool city. We were close to the Shinjuku area where there was the famous crossing. And we went to an English pub where we met some Sunderland fans, as there was a local who'd set up a Sunderland supporters group in Japan, and we got to watch Sunderland beat Chelsea 2-1 and go to second in the league. The next day in Tokyo we just had a chill day, and then on the evening we went out to an art museum. There was lots of mirrors and interactive exhibits. There were a few sort of like little assault courses that we tried out. You could do some drawings and upload your drawings onto a digital site and control your dolphins. The next area we went to was sort of a foot sensory area, so we had to take our shoes and socks off and go through some water. Then there was a big lights area with lots of mirrors. And there was a control panel where you could pick what the different things the lights would be doing. And some sort of high water areas where you'd be up to your knees. Then we wandered into a room with some big balls, and we had a game of hide and seek. Even though that was the only thing we did that day, I was pretty tired by the end of it. The next day we went into Shinjuku and we saw a movie filming. We wandered around and grabbed some lunch, and walked to a big government building that you could take an elevator up to the top for free, where it gave some great views of the area. And there was a piano at the top which I decided to have a go on, and the kid performing was really good, which put the pressure on. We went out to a park and played some basketball with some locals, and wandered around the park before we went off to play some pool and darts. Then on the evening we just wandered around Shinjuku at the night and went out for some more ramen. The next day we took a bus out to a small town where you could see Mount Fuji from. It was a nice bus ride there, and we could see Mount Fuji along the way. We stopped nearby a lake and took a cable car up to a viewpoint. We got to the top and we were planning on doing a hike, but once we got up there I was just so tired and fatigued. I think I must have been a bit ill, I just had to take a nap and crash out. But we still got some great views of Mount Fuji and took some good photos. The next day I just took it easy, and on the evening we went out to see a sumo performance. These two guys weren't professionals, but they still trained a lot in sumo and they were really good. We then both got a chance to fight a sumo, which was quite fun, but this guy, he was huge. I was pushing against him with pretty much everything, and I was nothing. He could have easily beat me at any point, but we just thought we'd have a bit of fun. After a while of pushing against each other, I almost had him at this point, really. But nah, he was just playing with me. And after a while, he just thought, oh, let's end it here, and he just picked me up, put me out. James and I both really enjoyed this experience. It was fun and interesting learning about the sumos. But by the end of it, I was pretty tired after not having much energy anyway. And after a month without cereal, I really enjoyed some that we found in a 7-Eleven. Our next day was another pretty chill day. We just went out to a park nearby the Imperial Palace.
Leaving Japan this morning, 5:30. Pretty early.
So that was the end of Japan before we took our flight to Hanoi in Vietnam. Japan was a very cool country to visit. The people were very polite and friendly. The food was really good, and there were lots of different things that we could have done. Probably could have spent even longer. I really enjoyed Kyoto probably the most.